The King's Avatar, Chapter 406, Audio Source, WurshaWorldAudiobook.com. Chapter 406, New Year's Eve. Things with rankings always aroused competition. It was the reason why the Christmas event turned into a huge war between the top guilds. However, the Spring Festival wasn't like this. Players quietly did their quests and the system quietly gave out the rewards. Players could form parties with each other to do quests, but it wasn't necessary. You could easily complete the entire quest chain playing alone. It could be said that the Spring Festival event had temporarily turned Glory into a single-player game. Everyone could play on their own without any interaction. Of course, seeing others obtain beautiful rewards would make anyone envious, but there was nothing that could be done about that. The event quests were right there though. If they were envious, then they just had to complete them. The system gave out the rewards for the event fairly, so that more players would participate in the event. But no matter how great the rewards were, the later it got to day, the fewer the number of players there would be online. Just before 6, Yizhu took one last glance at his friends list before he logged off. All of the names were grey. Not a single one of them was online, even those enthusiastic fans from the top guilds. Soon afterwards, 3 people headed over to the restaurant Chen Guo had reserved and went there to eat dinner. Chen Guo suddenly felt like she was in a dream seeing the 2 guests in front of her. If this was in the past, she would never have thought that she would ever get the chance to eat with the 2 of them, let alone eating with them at New Year's Eve. Chen Guo was obviously very excited, but she also knew that Yizhu and his brother were both a mess with alcohol. As a result, even though she poured alcohol into Yizhu's cup, it was only a little bit. She didn't force him to drink either. Yizhu spent most of his time drinking other drinks to dilute it. The 3 chatted about Glory. Yizhu and Sumo Chung were 2 top-tier pros. Who knew how much gossip and secrets they knew about in the pro circle? Just from the 2 gossiping, Chen Guo had her eyes open to a new world. Though for gossip, the top-tier god Yizhu couldn't compare to Sumo Chung. Sumo Chung deserved to be called a girl. Her ability to gossip was far better than Yizhu's. That night, none of them talked about any serious topics. The atmosphere was even more harmonious than when doing the Spring Festival quests. At the end of the dinner, the 2 were clearly drunk. They repeated the same piece of gossip 5 times and were still laughing at what they were saying. Yizhu had drunk very little alcohol, so he was wide awake. Seeing that the other 2 were having fun, he didn't stop them and just quietly sat there on the side. There's no more alcohol. Sumo Chung picked up the alcohol bottle and shook it around for a while. She was only able to shake out 2 more drops. Then, she peeked through the bottle opening to look at the back of the bottle and then raised it up announcing her findings. Then, shall we go back? Yizhu said. Okay. Sumo Chung immediately stood up. Chen Guo had wanted to say they could get more alcohol, but seeing that her idol wanted to leave, she swallowed what she was about to say and shakily stood up using the table as a support. Careful. Yizhu saw that the 2 girls were unsteady and didn't know which one he should help. In the end, the 2 girls supported each other and swayed left and right towards the exit. Yizhu followed behind them, ready to rescue them at any time. They paid the bill and then left. It wasn't early and it was still quite cold at night, but the 2 drunk girls couldn't feel it. After leaving the restaurant, they didn't hurry to get back home and walked along the road. The 2 laughed and giggled the entire way back. Yizhu, who was following behind them, was too distracted to hear what they were saying clearly. Will it be far if we go back through there? Yizhu heard Sumo Chung say this clearly and was so frightened, his body broke out into cold sweat. It's quite far. We can walk for a bit and then get a taxi. Luckily, Chen Guo still had her common sense. Oh, let's walk for a bit, Su Mucheng said. The two girls continued to walk forward in large strides. Yishu didn't stop them and just followed close behind in case they tripped or something. Looking at both sides of the street, all of the houses had their lights turned brightly on. In the night, the lights shined even brighter than the stars. Suddenly, there was a bang, and then from who knew which window, a string of fireworks shot into the sky and exploded, dimming the stars even further. The string of fireworks was like a signal, and one after the other, all sorts of fireworks were set off. The sound of firecrackers also sprung up from all around, filling up the area with booms and crackles. Among these sounds was the sound of a clock. It was finally midnight. The two girls were almost within reach and Yishu could see them opening their mouths and shouting something, but their voices were drowned out by the other sounds around them. Even worse, after the fireworks exploded into colorful flowers, raindrop-like things began falling. Chen Guo was the first to be hit. Oh no! The nearby Yishu was able to hear Chen Guo shout this out. Run! The two girls called out to Yishu. The two had already begun running. But the problem was that along this road, besides business buildings, the residents were all firing off the fireworks and firecrackers. This rain was dropping all along the road. Where would they run to? The two girls didn't seem to understand this logic. As they ran and dodged, they were having a lot of fun. Yishu followed after them and finally understood. The two were pretending this was a game. Yishu paid attention to the road. During this special occasion, there were very few taxis around. Even though he was looking for one, there was still no sign of one even after a long time. I'm so tired. Let's rest a little bit. The two girls ran towards a bus stop to take shelter and then looked up together to see the skies filled with colorful flowers. Look over there. That one looks good. Yeah, over there. The two pointed around and continued to laugh, swaying from side to side. Yishu also took cover at the bus stop and looked up. The beautiful flowers covering the sky truly was very gorgeous to look at. Unfortunately, no matter how beautiful the flowers were, they would only stay for so long before fading away. The three under the bus stop watched the show put on by the neighborhood families. After the show was done, everything became exceptionally quiet. There would occasionally be a few sounds of fireworks going off, but it only further showed the emptiness after moments of beauty. It's over, Su Mucheng mumbled as she looked into the sky. It's not done yet. We still have some at my home. Let's hurry back and set them off. Chen Guo said. Really? Su Mucheng immediately became excited again. Hurry up and find a taxi. Wuxia The two impatiently urged. But it wasn't easy to find a taxi. The three waited for a long time before they found one. By the time they got back to the internet cafe, the families who didn't care to see the new year had probably gone to sleep already. The two excited girls didn't care about this though. After returning to the internet cafe, Chen Guo took out all of the fireworks she had bought yesterday. These fireworks had been bought based off of how good their names sounded to Chen Guo. She didn't actually know what they were like though. After pushing them all outside, the two girls went to ask Yishu to light them up. Yishu lit two of them, one for each of the two girls. The two girls played around with them, firing them off and commenting on them. Previously, they had been spectators. This time, they were participating. Even though no one else was really doing it right now. The two still looked for that type of fun from competing with others and expressed how their fireworks looked better than the others from before. Not bad, not bad. Yishu added and acted as the fire giver. Chen Guo had truly bought a lot of fireworks. The two girls set them off for a good half an hour. They were finally satisfied and then went back to their rooms to rest. What should we do next? Quote, they were done playing with the fireworks, but they clearly weren't ready to stop yet. We can dungeon, Yishu suggested. The two looked at each other and thought about it for a bit. They really didn't have anything to do, so they accepted Yishu's suggestion. When they came on, quite a few names on the friends list had lit up. Tangro wasn't there though. Oh, there's only us two, Yishu said to Sumuchung. Then let's go with just us two. Sumuchung didn't care. You won't fall asleep halfway, right? Yishu wondered. The two girls had played crazily and had kept up their high energy the entire time. Now that things had quieted down, if the alcohol got to them, they would probably doze off. You'll be okay by yourself, no? Sumuchung said. Okay, let's go then. The two dungeoned together. Chen Guo hated how she couldn't play with them. She could only go on her chasing haze and play by herself. Yishu's worries had been right on the mark. Not long after they began playing, Chen Guo, who had been playing by herself in the heavenly domain, was the first to get sleepy and she struggled to keep her eyes open. In the end, she wasn't able to hang on and she slumped in her chair and fell asleep. As for Sumuchung, because she was playing with someone else, her situation was better than Chen Guo's. But halfway through the dungeon, she began struggling to keep her eyes open. Hey hey, hey, hey hey hey, Yishu repeatedly reminded. Right now, Sumuchung was no longer his best partner, but the dungeon's secret spy, giving Yishu trouble from time to time. Hurry up and go to sleep, Yishu said. I'm not sleepy. Sumuchung struggled. She lifted her cannon and began firing at monsters. Yishu had his character turn around and run. The monsters at hand hadn't been completely killed off, yet she pulled another mob over, trapping them using the terrain, moving around, kiting, pulling a train. Yishu used everything at his disposal and with great difficulty, he was able to clear away the giant mob. He turned his head to urge Sumuchung to go to sleep, but discovered that she had already fallen asleep on her chair. End chapter.
The King's Avatar, Chapter 407, Audio Source, WuShouWorldAudiobook.com. Chapter 407, Spring Festival Long Vacation. Hey hey hey, go up and sleep. Hey hey hey, go up and sleep. Yishu padded to the left and to the right. The one on the left moved to the left and the one on the right moved to the right. Both of their mouths were muttering something. In any case, they were in a deep sleep and had no intentions of moving. Yishu padded to the left and right again. The two still ignored him. Helpless, Yishu ran upstairs and grabbed blankets for them and then went back to the game. Just like Sumuchung said, for Yishu, soloing a dungeon wasn't a problem, but it was still more troublesome. Yishu didn't have any other choice though, so he pressed on forward through the dungeon. Moreover, Sumuchung may be sleeping, but her character wasn't dead. In order to not waste experience, Yishu had Sumuchung's cleansing mist follow behind Lord Grimm. Yishu let out a sigh of relief after getting out of the dungeon. Even though he had the ability to solo the dungeon, it taxed him heavily and certainly wasn't efficient. Still, running over to solo a dungeon was very stupid, especially while an event was going on. Yishu hadn't drunk much, so he was still clear-headed. When he exited the dungeon, he had Sumuchung's character log off and then went to do quests. The Spring Festival events weren't difficult in the first place. If it wasn't a problem for normal players, how could it be a problem for Yishu? After mechanically repeating the quests over and over, he had even gotten on TV a few times, but he didn't really get anything worth being amazed at. Experience was Yishu's main priority though, and from this perspective, the efficiency was very satisfactory. Early in the morning, Chen Guo's and Suma Chung's alcohol and fatigue had eased up by quite a bit because of the sleep, and the two woke up. "Go up and sleep," Yishu called to them. "Oh." Chen Guo was struggling to wake up. "What are you doing?" Suma Chung was also trying hard to open her eyes. "Doing quests," Yishu said. "I'll go do some too. I don't want to be left behind." Suma Chung rubbed her eyes and extended her hands out to grab the mouse. "Don't worry. When I get to level 50, the Heavenly Domain Challenge will take me a long time to finish," Yishu said. "The quest chain won't be bad, but the requirements for the arena might be troublesome in the new server." Suma Chung checked the level standings and said this after studying the 10th server's character levels. Lord Grimm was too high leveled. He was at the same level as the top guild elite accounts, and those accounts probably wouldn't go the arena at level 50. "A blessing yesterday, misfortune today," Yishu sighed. Yishu couldn't think of a way. Suma Chung couldn't either. She could only be helpless along with Yishu. On the other side, Chen Guo was struggling to stand up, but after seeing that Suma Chung didn't intend on sleeping, she stretched and then sat back down to log in. "What, you're not going to sleep either?" Yishu asked. "All-nighter." "What, sleep?" Chen Guo opened her eyes wide, but she couldn't open them very wide. She simply didn't have the energy to do so. "All-nighter it is." Yishu wouldn't urge her and quickly returned to his game. As a result, the three each took a computer station and were able to complete the all-nighter tradition. Many players used this as an excuse to play games all night. And tonight, the might of the Spring Festival events could be seen. On the level standings, those who were online all day since the start had a huge advantage over those who hadn't. Yishu's and Suma Chung's character had both risen up several ranks. After the sun came out, the three logged off and went to sleep. Suma Chung had originally planned on sleeping at Yishu's place while Yishu slept on the sofa, but Chen Guo stubbornly refused. Under her invitation, Suma Chung went to sleep together in her room, while Yishu slept in the usual storage room. When they got up, they ate some food and then went to play Glory. For dinner, Chen Guo had reserved a restaurant again, and so the three headed over there to eat another feast. They didn't party as hard as yesterday, and the two girls didn't get so drunk that they were tipsy. After returning, they went to play Glory. This time, they didn't insist on playing all night and went to rest if they felt tired. This lifestyle went on for 3 days. The pattern remained the same, but they were quite happy with it. After all, Glory was their favorite hobby. During a long vacation, doing what you liked without having to worry about work was what most people did for their vacation. Their way of celebrating the holiday wasn't anything out of the ordinary. On the 4th day of the Spring Festival, Chen Guo had to go out. It wasn't like she didn't have relatives. It was just that she wasn't very close to them. She still felt like she had to visit them for New Year's. Chen Guo left in the early morning. When Yishu and Suma Chung got up, they only saw a slip of paper left by Chen Guo. "Oh, today there's only us two." Yishu read the slip of paper. "What should we do?" Suma Chung asked. "Have you bought any new clothes for the New Year's?" Yishu asked. "I haven't," Suma Chung said. "Let's go shopping then," Yishu said. "Okay." Suma Chung didn't refuse. As a result, today, the three didn't sit at the cafe playing the game all day. Chen Guo went out to visit her relatives. Yishu and Suma Chung went out walking around the city. They ate and took a stroll. It was like a vacation from the game. Chen Guo finished visiting her relatives in 1 day. Yishu and Suma Chung didn't have any new goals after walking around the entire day either. The three returned to their previous life and played Glory during the vacation. The long vacation for the Spring Festival usually lasted for 7 days. But for the Pro Alliance, the vacation only lasted 5 days. This was because the Alliance wanted to take advantage of the vacation to add to the players' fun. The 7th day of the Spring Festival was a match day. On the night of the fifth day, Soo Muchung had to go back to the team to get ready. During these few days, Chen Guo had been able to establish a deep friendship with Soo Muchung. Being able to become friends with her idol was something she had never dared of dreaming about before. WuxiaWorldAudio.com. Right now, her dream had become a reality. She had a smile on her face the entire day. When Soo Muchung left, Chen Guo had sent her who knew how many things as a gift. Yishu watched, a bit speechless. I say, it's not like she's leaving to somewhere far away. She's just across the street. What do you know? It's not convenient for Miu Miu to come over, especially because we're at an internet cafe. Chen Guo said. How could I not know? Yishu looked up at the sky. The boss was regarding him less and less like a pro player. It's really too much. I can't carry it all. I'll leave it here for now and I'll come pick it up when I have time. Soo Muchung said. Her other reasons could be accepted. The 4 words, when I have time, made Chen Guo unbearably happy. She obviously welcomed Soo Muchung to come over often, so she quickly split the gifts. So it's like that. Okay, you can come pick these up later. Soo Muchung left. Now it was only Chen Guo and Yishu that remained in the internet cafe. Chen Guo had given her employees 7 days of vacation. Her reason for closing the internet cafe these past few days was mainly in order to concentrate on taking care of Soo Muchung as a guest. Now that Soo Muchung had left, Chen Guo could feel at ease opening up her internet cafe. The internet cafe's business was doing quite well today. In particular, there were many young faces. Many of them couldn't even take out their proof of identity. They tried every way possible to try and trick their way in. Clearly, after receiving their New Year's money, they wanted to go out and spend it. Chen Guo was very lawful towards these people though. She wouldn't care about that small amount of business. Those who didn't have their proofs of identity wouldn't be able to enter. The helpless kids could only take their red envelopes and leave the line. Who knew how many kids she had to send away today? Chen Guo wasn't so soft. On the 7th day of the Spring Festival, the final day of vacation, the Glory Pro Alliance specially prepared a match day in order to give their Glory fans a happy ending to the vacation. This day had been carefully considered long ago during the planning for this season's schedule. The entire day was filled with highlight matches. Excellent Era versus Tyranny. Even though their current placings were very uneven, their many years of rivalry made this match a match worth seeing. No Excellent Era fan or Tyranny fan would miss this match. Tiny Herb versus Samsara. After Excellent Era's dynasty, the new generation 2-time champion team would be facing the up-and-coming Samsara. It would be a match between the old and the new. Blue Rain versus Thunderclap. Both teams had master tacticians leading. Even though in terms of individual strength, Blue Rain had the advantage, the existence of Thunderclap's Xiao Shichen would give any team trouble. How the two master tacticians would devise their battle plans would definitely attract countless players who are interested in strategy and tactics. 100 Blossoms versus Misty Rain. Mysterious Fantasy versus Bright Green. Every match had something to be noted. Whether that be drama or controversy, all of the matches were filled with hype. The only unfortunate thing was that the competition schedule had been set before the season started. Many hot topics that came out during the season couldn't be arranged into the schedule. For example, Tang Hao versus Lim Jingyan. The fight between the new generation and the old generation was a fight that had only erupted during the season. Moreover, the two were both powerhouses in their respective teams. If this had been known earlier, a match between 100 Blossoms versus Wind Howl would have definitely been arranged for today. Such a dazzling array of hype matches to watch would make any player very conflicted on which one to watch. The TV station had chosen to broadcast the match between Excellent Era and Tyranny. However, this season, Excellent Era's record was quite poor. The two teams weren't on the same competitive level. The match was entirely on their history as rivals. This wasn't something that the people planning the season schedule could have predicted. The highlight match that had been planned for the Spring Festival had lost a lot of hype because of this reason. Luckily, the drama between Sun Xiang and Han Wenqing during the All-Star weekend made it so that there was something to look out for in this match. Even Chen Guo, who no longer liked Excellent Era, decided to choose this match to watch. End chapter.
The King's Avatar, Chapter 408, Audio Source, wuxia-world-audiobook.com. Chapter 408, Su Mucheng's Transformation. At Happy Internet Cafe, everyone was still on break. Yi Zhu and Chen Guo were the only ones working. When it was about time for the match to be broadcast, the two bustled about, running back and forth, and had even let out a little sweat doing so. Luckily, Chen Guo had plenty of experience. In the past, she had tried doing everything herself like this and knew what troubles would happen with just a few people helping out. As a result, she took precautions beforehand, so they wouldn't miss the match's broadcast. However, because she had offended many of the Excellent Era fans, even though today they were broadcasting an Excellent Era match, there weren't many who came today specially for the match. Chen Guo didn't care about this. It was true that the cafe had lost that atmosphere from before, but there was still a good audience size, especially since Excellent Era's match was being broadcasted today. A few passerbyers saw this and joined in. As a business, someone had to watch over the front desk. The two weren't able to get a good seat, so they sat together at the front desk. The commentator and honored guest had already begun doing their pre-game talk. There was a lot less to talk about though because of Excellent Era's poor season record. Right now, the commentator and honored guest were discussing the challenge from Sun Xiang to Han Wenqing at the All-Star weekend, hoping to arouse their audience's feelings. Reality confirmed that it worked. The Excellent Era fans in Happy Internet Cafe were bubbling with excitement. They hoped that today, Excellent Era would be able to crush Tyranny, especially Tyranny's captain Han Wenqing. The uglier the loss, the better. It has to be known that at the All-Star weekend, Sun Xiang had taken the initiative to challenge Han Wenqing, yet Sun Xiang was the one to lose. This defeat was something that Excellent Era fans could only lower their heads, even when Tyranny fans laughed at them. The battle had received not just a few mocking remarks from Tyranny fans, but the Excellent Era fans could do nothing in retaliation. Win the match versus Tyranny. After the All-Star weekend, this had become the #1 hope this season for Excellent Era fans. As for making it into the playoffs, it was only a possibility in theory. They didn't have any hope of it actually happening. A match that was looked highly upon by supporters would make it an important match for the teams too. Excellent Era had expressed their confidence and determination in the pre-game briefing. The match soon began. For the first round in the individual competition, Excellent Era started off with Su Mucheng and her Dancing Rain. Chen Guo immediately put down her task at hand and stared attentively at the match. Having not projected Excellent Era's matches in a while, Chen Guo only felt that it was a pity because she couldn't watch her idol play. Even though she later found VODs to watch, it wasn't as exciting as watching it live. Today was a rare opportunity. Chen Guo would give her a good cheer. Wow, Excellent Era starts off with Su Mucheng. Speaking of her, ever since the All-Star weekend, Su Mucheng has been performing exceptionally. The commentator said, "Yes, you're right." The honored guest affirmed, "Do you think that it has anything to do with Yi Chu appearing at All-Stars and expressing his return with a dragon raises its head?" The commentator began instigating the drama, obviously for the audience to listen to. It might be because of that, but it's only a guess. In recent interviews, Su Mucheng always avoids answering these types of questions. The honored guest said, There's already rumors that Yichu is preparing to create his own team and return to the Pro Alliance that way. If that's true, with Sumo Chung's and Yichu's relationship, she'll definitely be a central part of Yichu's team, no? Coach Lee, what do you think? Today, the commentator and honored guest was once again Pan Lin and Lee Yibo. In the Glory esports scene, the two were well-known casting duos. They would often be sent out for the more exciting matches. The earliest Yichu can come back would be next split in the winter. It's not possible to directly have his team enter the alliance at that time. In other words, if Yichu creates his own team and plans on joining the alliance, if everything goes well, it will have to be at the 10th season. As for Sumo Chung's contract, she still has half a year left. When the 10th season arrives, her contract will have expired. It really is possible. In terms of time, there aren't any hindrances. However, there's still half a year of time. Even if Yichu creates his own team, it's only a rumor right now. We can't make a conclusion so easily. Lee Yibo's words were spoken in a somewhat roundabout way. The current him no longer made conclusions so bluntly. His words would often have many extra words to them. Let's first pay attention to the match. Quote, after introducing the players who would be appearing on stage, the first round of the individual competition began and the commentator Pan Lin immediately switched the topic to the match. Coach Lee, don't you feel that Sumo Chung's style has changed after the All-Star weekend? Lee Yibo's commentating style had changed, but Pan Lin's was still the same. Pan Lin often brought up topics for Lee Yibo to talk about. Lee Yibo was quite confident with this question. He didn't answer in a roundabout way and replied directly. In truth, when Sumo Chung partnered with Yichu, she spent the majority of the time supporting him. But recently, she has clearly become much more proactive, whether she plays solo or with the team. She now looks like a main attacker. Then Coach Lee, do you feel that this change is due to some type of breakthrough she's made as an individual? Or do you think it's because the team requires it? Pan Lin asked. That's hard to say, but I believe that no matter the style or strategy, every player has victory as their end goal. Lee Yibo elaborately avoided answering the question. In the past, Chen Guo had liked to hear what the commentator and honored guest analyzed. But after hearing Yishu's explanations and deductions several times, when the time came, she turned her head out of habit to see what Yishu had to say. This time, Yishu didn't say anything. Chen Guo didn't like this and tapped Yishu's shoulder. Hey, say something. Say what? Yishu was puzzled. They're saying that Miu Miu's style has changed. Chen Guo and Sumo Chung had become good friends and now addressed her as Miu Miu. They're correct. Her style has changed. Yishu said. How has she changed? Quote, this was the question that Lee Yibo had avoided. She's gotten better as an individual. Yishu said. Really? Chen Guo was happy, but she quickly realized that Yishu had something more to say. Then what about from a team perspective? WuxaWorldAudio.com. They've already said it. She's changed from a support role to an attacker. Yishu said. Is that change good or bad? Chen Guo asked. That can't be seen from a 1v1 match. You have to look at the team's situation to see. Yishu said. Just tell it to me straight. Chen Guo was anxious. For the current excellent era, this type of change has probably increased the team's strength. Yishu said. Why? Because currently, excellent era's core player is still a relatively solo player. In the past, Sumo Chung's supportive playstyle didn't just revolve around the core player's tempo and add to it. Her playstyle required both sides to work together. When the core player attacked, the core player had to consider what she would do. Sun Qiang might have the ability to do this, but right now, he doesn't have that type of awareness, so Su Muchang's playstyle wouldn't be very effective. It'd be better if she became an attacker to increase the team's battle strength. Yi Shi said. Sun Qiang is a piece of trash. Chen Guo immediately disdained. If he really was trash, then there's no one in the alliance that would dare call themselves good. Yi Shi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Trash is trash. Chen Guo violently cursed. Let's watch the match, Yi Shi said helplessly. The first round of the individual competition wasn't short or long. Both sides played well, but Su Muchang had seized a crucial opportunity and helped Excellent Era win 1 point. Beautiful. Amazing. Chen Guo clapped wildly. Yeah, Yi Zhu added. So half-hearted. Chen Guo heard Yi Zhu's tone. Yeah, Yi Zhu repeated himself to save time. Chen Guo restrained herself from picking up her stool and throwing it at him. She could only glare viciously at Yi Zhu and wait for him to explain. I understand your reaction as a crazy fan, but from the actual content of the match, your reaction is too exaggerated, Yi Zhu said. If everyone's like you, where's the fun in watching a match? Chen Guo curled her lips. That's why I'm a pro and you're a spectator, Yi Zhu said bluntly. Chen Guo lost again. Chen Guo was beginning to feel conflicted for the second and third round. Excellent Era was a team she didn't like, but the team had players she liked. For a moment, she wasn't sure whether she should be hoping for Excellent Era to win or lose. Previously, when she didn't watch Excellent Era's matches, she didn't have this type of conflict. But now that she was looking at one, she didn't know what she should be feeling. The match made Chen Guo feel vexed. During her moments of trouble, Excellent Era lost 2 times in a row. Chen Guo immediately made a conclusion and looked down on the 2 Excellent Era matches that had come out, while praising Su Muchang. The group arrangement for the group arena was standard. The 2 teams' players with Han Wenqing and Sun Qiang last as the anchors. The competition quickly began. This time, Excellent Era's 2 players who went up didn't give a chance for Chen Guo to look down on them. Their performance was exceptional. Not only did they defeat their opponents, they even acquired a huge advantage. In the third round, they fought against Han Wenqing and were able to take down half of the health of Han Wenqing's Desert Dust. Next was Sun Qiang's turn. This matchup was something that everyone had been looking forward to, but with Han Wenqing's Desert Smoke only with half of his health left, the disadvantage for Han Wenqing was too great. Sun Qiang used this advantage to form a steady strategy. In the end, Sun Qiang defeated Han Wenqing and won his team the group arena victory. However, beating a half-health Han Wenqing didn't make any of the Excellent Era fans satisfied with the revenge. They only felt like Sun Qiang had done something that should have been done. In order to appease their resentment, it would have to be Sun Qiang at half-health beating a Han Wenqing at full health. As a result, everything depended on the final team competition. End chapter.
Chapter 409, Excellent Era is just that. So far, Tyranny had won 2 points, while Excellent Era had won 3 points. However, Excellent Era fans weren't happy. For the current Excellent Era, points were no longer significant. Playoffs wasn't possible and their standings weren't so bad that they were at risk of falling to the last 2 places and getting eliminated from the alliance. Excellent Era fans hoped to see a moving match. In reality, they didn't even need to win versus Tyranny, but they had to give Tyranny trouble. For Excellent Era, which no longer cared for their standings, their fans only wanted to enjoy the match and no longer cared for the results. The break before the team competition was always relatively long. The commentator Pan Lin and honored guest Li Yibo discussed this issue. These 2 experienced professionals understood the 2 teams' situations quite clearly. The audience in Happy Internet Cafe were also in a discussion. The atmosphere in the past when broadcasting Excellent Era games had somewhat reappeared. Truthfully, Chen Guo missed this type of atmosphere. Seeing the customers joining forces to support Excellent Era, Chen Guo showed a reminiscent expression. After a 20-minute break, the team competition finally began. Both sides sent out the arrangement they usually used for the team competition. Happy Internet Cafe quickly began growing excited, shouting and cheering for Team Excellent Era. But who could have thought that this team competition was like a splash of cold water to Excellent Era fans? At the start of the match, Team Excellent Era charged forward, giving their fans a sense of confidence and spirit. But after a few minutes of fighting, anyone who knew even a little bit about Glory could see that Excellent Era was at a complete disadvantage. Tactics. The decisive factor for this match wasn't spirit, confidence, mechanics, performance, or experience, but tactics. It goes without saying that the person to look out for was Team Tyranny's Zhang Jinji. Tactics wasn't something that was easy to see from a direct observation, like an amazing play that was seen in 2 or 3 seconds, instantly pumping up the crowd. There was more to see in tactics. It's like a story filled with foreshadowing. The beginning might be dull and tedious, but once everything came together, the true importance of tactics would be revealed. The unceasing attacks from then on would cause the crowd to think back to the dull and tedious parts in the beginning and figure out what their purpose was. The match turned out to be just like this. The first few minutes seemed like a normal confrontation, but after getting past this point, Tyranny began to continuously gain the advantage. The commentator and honored guest had been analyzing possible tactical intent at the start, but once the moment arrived, they connected the moves from the first few minutes and thoroughly analyzed the tactical plan. This is what you call brilliant, Yi Shu praised. You're right, Chen Guo nodded her head. Because she had already abandoned her identity as an Excellent Era fan, she wasn't as dispirited and downcast as the other Excellent Era supporters in the Internet Cafe and appreciated Zhang Jinji's tactical plan objectively. A lone wolf like Sun Shang fears this type of preparation and fears strategy and tactics with direction to them. Don't look at how Tyranny was never worse than Excellent Era in terms of strength. Even Thunderclap might be able to gobble up Excellent Era, Yi Shu said. Because they have Xiao Shikan, Chen Guo obviously knew the names of the 4 famous master tacticians. Correct. What about the current Excellent Era? Is there anyone there good at tactics? Chen Guo asked. There might not be anyone in the entire alliance who could answer this question with more authority than Yi Shu. After a few seconds of silence, Yi Shu slowly shook his head. HMPH, Retribution, Chen Guo said impolitely. Excellent Era originally had a master tactician. Yi Shu was one of them, but after Excellent Era kicked him out, a lot of problems arose. Chen Guo obviously felt happy about it because she no longer liked them anymore. For this season, Excellent Era is just that. As Yi Shu made this remark, the team competition ended with Tyranny winning. If the results were looked at on paper, it looked like Tyranny only barely won with only 2 of their players left at the end. But as long as one saw how the match progressed, one would know that the results may have been close, but it was a closeness that had been predetermined. It's not like it mattered how many players were alive at the end of the match. This was why sometimes, trading blows to end the match could be a very direct and effective strategy. In the news briefing after the match, the briefing expressed how rare it was for the 2 bitter enemies to not have a tense fight, but those were only words for appearance purposes. Tyranny gave a few simple words towards the match and then talked about the end goal for this season and their plans for playoffs. These were all things that Excellent Era didn't have for this season. A few reporters believed there was another meaning behind these words and felt that Tyranny was trying to say that Excellent Era was not at the same level as them, so it was beneath them to talk about Excellent Era. Excellent Era had less of a voice as the losers. Excellent Era politely praised Tyranny's incredible tactics and then added in as if by accident that it was because they were playing on Tyranny's home grounds that Tyranny was able to prepare such fine tactics. Then, they said how it was a pity that they wouldn't have any more chances to fight against Tyranny this season and hoped that next season, the 2 teams would have another intense match. The reporters once again noticed that their statement implied that Excellent Era was like a nobleman taking revenge, even 10 years wouldn't be too late. Excellent Era understood what their fans were feeling and didn't want to recklessly make a call. A loss was a loss. Still making remarks like a dead duck was very unclassy. Even though Excellent Era hadn't touched the championship cup in 4 years, they still had the glorious record of having 3 championship titles to their name and had always considered themselves as the #1 team in the Pro Alliance. The news briefing ended peacefully and Happy Internet Cafe's broadcast also ended. The crowd began to disperse as well. Seeing how all of them looked so dejected, Chen Guo really wanted to go up and ask them, "Do you miss Yi Chu?" In the end, Chen Guo decided not to do so because Yi Shu was sitting right there. She felt like standing out like that wouldn't make anyone feel grateful towards her. It was much more likely that they would hate her. After sending off a large batch of customers, Yi Shu and Chen Guo returned to the game. Today, the cafe had gotten loud for a bit because of the match, but then the business returned to the usual. The later it got, the fewer customers there were. There weren't really any new customers that came. When it was almost midnight, there wasn't even a single person left in the internet cafe. Before and after this, a lot of young kids without any proof of identity came to go on the computers. Chen Guo naturally shooed them away. At 11 o'clock, a large group of youths came and discussed with Chen Guo the conditions for an all-nighter at the internet cafe. Chen Guo refused to budge, and just like everyone else, if they didn't have any proof of identity, then they would have to leave. There was no room for negotiation. When the last customer left, she rolled down the shutters and closed the door. During the long vacation, she had fun with her idol and played the game with her. Even though Chen Guo didn't always accompany them for an all-nighter, her usual sleep schedule had been broken. Right now it was 12 o'clock. In the past, she would already be in bed, but she currently didn't feel like sleeping. What should she do? There was only glory. She tidied up the front desk with Yi Shu, and then the two sat at their usual computers and played on their accounts. "How's it going? Has anything happened recently?" Yi Shu asked. Chen Guo shook her head and then turned around to look at Yi Shu's screen. "What level are you?" "Level 49. I'll rush to 50 tonight," Yi Shu said. The time for history to be made had finally arrived. Chen Guo decided that she wouldn't sleep today in order to remember this moment of glory. "What do you plan on doing after getting to level 50? Chen Guo asked. "I'll do the question first and then wait for everyone else to level up," Yi Shu said. "What a waste of time." Chen Guo sighed. Normal players often had to repeat the content in the quest chain several times before succeeding, which was why they usually felt that it took so long. But for Yi Shu, Chen Guo was certain that he would be able to pass it on his first try. He wouldn't need to repeat anything and finish it step by step. The quest chain for the Heavenly Domain Challenge wouldn't take too long. However, for the arena portion, he would have to wait for the majority of the player base to reach level 50, which would usually take about a month. Right now there were events for the Spring Festival. However, most players wouldn't be like Yi Shu and play all day every day, so their leveling speed couldn't compare to Yi Shu's. Even with the event going on, the majority of the players would still need half a month. During this half a month, Yi Shu would have nothing to do. That night, Chen Guo didn't sleep. As she did quests, she paid attention to Lord Grimm's experience bar. Finally, she personally witnessed this historical event. Under the white light from the computer screen, Lord Grimm reached level 50, becoming the first in the 10th server to get to level 50. Due to the nature of the Spring Festival, the accounts from the top guilds weren't being played on 24/7. In the past few days, Yi Shu actually played more than them. With Chen Guo helping Yi Shu level, while he was sleeping, during these 7 days of vacation, Lord Grimm had become the 10th server's #1 player. But unfortunately, the 10th server didn't have any event for begin the highest level. Even though Lord Grimm was the first to reach level 50, he didn't get any rewards. He only received a few gasps of admiration from a few players. Chapter 410, Heavenly Domain Challenge, Start. Apart from the myriad manifestation umbrella, the other equipment on the level 50 Lord Grimm was very ordinary. Because he didn't have a class, he couldn't wear class-specific sets, so he simply switched equipment whenever he found it convenient to. Yi Shu had more than enough money to buy these common equipment. As a result, he had equipment of all different kinds and of all different levels. This was what other experienced players did as well though. Before reaching max level, very few players cared to buy the best equipment for themselves. The reason the top guilds would do this was because 1. They needed the best conditions for challenging the dungeon records, and 2. They had many players and plenty of resources. Most of the resources didn't need to be spent on the majority of the guild members, so the guild could allocate a bit of it to buy the most optimal equipment for their elites. But now that Lord Grimm was level 50 and Yishu had plenty of time to spare, he could carefully prepare a set of good equipment for himself. There was no need to get the best, but finding a proper set of equipment could increase his level 50 battle strength by quite a lot. Yishu went to the main city and began searching the market. The 10th server had opened for 2 months and the market could be considered as stable now. The new players that had come at the opening of the server had played for 2 months now, and the majority of them weren't as newbie as before. They had a basic understanding of the prices for different types of equipment and which equipment were useful. As for uncommon materials, which was always in need, even idiots knew that these materials weren't trash. When Lord Grimm leveled to 50, it was already the latter half of the night. The market was still bustling with activity though. However, most of the characters at the vendor stalls weren't active. Players would often go to sleep and leave their characters in the game with a vendor stall. Yishu obviously knew this, so as he moved through the market, he wouldn't bother haggling over any prices that weren't too ideal. He simply skimmed through the stalls as he walked. With the production capability of over 10 million players, apart from items dropped by wild bosses, which only spawned a certain amount of times per week, there was more supply than demand. As long as one had patience, one could find anything in the market. Yishu wasn't looking for anything too great, and understanding this idea, he patiently scoured around. He opened his money bag again and again, buying equipment after equipment. After walking through one street, the equipment on Lord Grimm looked completely new now. Yishu opened up his stats page and nodded his head in satisfaction. "What's the logic behind your equips?" Chen Guo asked. She had been quietly watching Yishu buy equipment the entire time. She had wanted to speak several times, but she never did because she wanted to rely on her own knowledge to figure out why. However, after observing the whole times, she couldn't understand, so she could only ask. Yishu turned his head to look at Chen Guo and said, "By a price-to-stat ratio." Chen Guo had lost again. A price-to-stat ratio was a very practical reason. It was just that Chen Guo had thought that a top-tier god would look at things from an overall perspective. However, looking at things based on a price-to-stat ratio wouldn't be good for that purpose, which was why Chen Guo hadn't thought that Yishu would choose equipment based on that logic. Even when she saw Yishu buy an individual equipment and thought of this, she threw away that thought every time. Who would have thought that it really was just like that? A great top-tier god bought equipment based off of its price-to-stat ratio. Chen Guo felt like Yishu was unworthy of his treasure trove of uncommon materials. "This is good enough for the Heavenly Domain Challenge," Yishu said. "Oh?" Chen Guo was surprised, but quickly understood. "Are you comparing the price based on the difficulty of the challenge?" Yishu nodded his head. He went around the city, preparing his equipment, and received all of the quests for the Heavenly Domain Challenge. Arena. Quest chain. There were 2 parts to it. As a result, when Yishu passed by the arena entrance, he had Lord Grimm look around even though he clearly knew he was the only level 50 character in the 10th server. It could be seen that even God Yishu was a person. Even he hoped that pie would fall from the sky sometimes. In the end, there was nothing to be found in the arena, so he began the quest chain. There were many steps in the quest chain. The first step was to return to the beginner village and find the NPC to receive the quest and help him find his money bag, which he lost in the creek nearby. It was a very common quest. After receiving it, the player simply followed the directions given by the NPC and then the player would reach the quest scenario. The Heavenly Domain quest scenario were actually dungeon-like in nature. However, it had to be completed alone, so there was no need to worry about anyone else messing up your challenge, and there was also no need to try asking others for help. Finding the money bags sounded cute, but in reality, it tested the player's ability to jump. The scenario was set in rapid-flowing water. The player could only jump on the rocks to move forward. If the player accidentally jumped into the water, the player would immediately be carried by the water to shore and the player would have to try again. The money bag was located on one of the rocks in the creek. The arrangement of the rocks and the money bag's location was random. This made it so that it wasn't possible to make a guide for it. The player could only rely on his own strength to jump around and find it. Chen Guo had been stuck on this quest for a long time, when she was attempting the Heavenly Domain Challenge. She had fallen into the water countless times, but in the end, she was able to find the money bag. Now that there was a god in front of her, Chen Guo obviously wanted to watch him play. She saw Yishu get to the scenario, charge towards the riverbank, and then directly jump, without stopping to look. He never paused. By looking at Yishu's screen, Chen Guo could see just how fluid and quick Yishu was with these movements. His screen was never in the same place for even 1 second. His camera constantly turned. Chen Guo didn't know if he was looking for the money bag or looking for a place to land. His character jumped non-stop. Chen Guo no longer knew which direction he was heading in. After 3 minutes, Lord Grimm jumped back onto shore and then left. Chen Guo was dumbstruck. She stared at the screen dumbly, and after a minute, she confirmed that Yishu was heading back to the beginner village. She asked in astonishment, "You're done?" "Done," Yishu said. "The money bag?" Yishu opened up his inventory. Because the money bag was a quest item, the name was in a different color, so it was easy to distinguish it from the other items. "When did you pick it up?" Chen Guo hadn't seen it. That, Yishu felt that it was hard to describe. "I didn't see it at all," Chen Guo said. "If you told me earlier, I could have gone slower," Yishu said. Chen Guo was speechless all the way until Yishu handed over the money bag and started the second quest. The second quest was a battle, but there were restrictions. Only normal attacks could be used. No skills were allowed. At that time, this quest had made Chen Guo cough up blood. For gunners, normal attacks were a type of style. Even though they could be fired in all sorts of positions and movements, the only way to do damage was to hit the opponent with the shots. A gunner without skills was like playing a game of Counter-Strike. It was a 1v100 game. You only had one life bar. If you died, you had to start over. The only good thing was that if you died, there was no penalty. If there were penalties for dying in the Heavenly Domain Challenge, the Glory Company would certainly be under terrorist attacks. This 1v100 quest had a storyline to it, but Yishu obviously didn't care. He took the quest and skipped all of the talking. Chen Guo switched positions and prepared to admire a performance by a god, but very quickly, tears streaked her cheeks. She had used Lord Grimm before. How could she have forgotten about the Myriad Manifestation Umbrella? One class only had one set of normal attacks, but Lord Grimm had 6 sets. Every form of the Myriad Manifestation Umbrella was another set. Melee and ranged attacks, all-around attacks, even shield attacks. The 100 enemies weren't bosses. In reality, they didn't even have the strength of level 70 monsters. Lord Grimm was only level 50 though, so against 100, from a level comparison, he was at a disadvantage. But apart from the Myriad Manifestation Umbrella, Yishu was also a beast. What was a small difference in levels to him? They were just trash, that's all they were. Yishu's Myriad Manifestation Umbrella continuously switched forms. Every change wasn't like how when Chen Guo used it, she sometimes just changed forms for fun. For Yishu, every change of form had a purpose. After switching forms, the weapon would immediately use an appropriate attack to deal with the enemy. On his screen's quest list, the 100 number kept decreasing. Lord Grimm's health also continued to decrease. But Chen Guo knew that it wasn't because Yishu couldn't hang on, it was because he didn't care. He had more than enough health to wipe out the 100 monsters. He didn't need to care about his health. It wasn't like the system cared how much health he had left at the end. The the second scenario was quickly passed. Chen Guo looked at the time. His progress compared to hers at that time were like night and day. Yi Shu directly entered the third scenario. The third scenario was also a battle, but this was a 1 versus 1 with no restrictions. But the opponent was a boss. The Midnight Phantom Cat, Green Forest's hidden boss. Of course, it wasn't level 10 like the one encountered in Green Forest. If it really was level 10, even if it was a hidden boss, it would be obliterated by any level 70 player. The Midnight Phantom Cat had grown to level 70. A level 70 hidden boss against a level 50 character, but the player was a top-tier expert in glory. In any case, it was a very unusual matchup. Chen Guo held her breath and watched Yi Shu fight without any hesitation. The level 70 Midnight Phantom Cat was like a crying mouse in front of Yi Shu. Chen Guo could even hear the cat's shrieks and cries. The system has no way of stopping him, Chen Guo quietly thought as she watched the fight.